What's up, my hunting brothers and sisters? Today we're going to take a look at some of the differences between hunting with sticks and a platform out of a saddle versus one sticking, or maybe a hybrid approach might be the best answer. What are the virtues of each? What's the best one to do? We're going to talk about all that here today, so stay tuned. So let's do a gear breakdown. But before I really dive into that, a couple things I want to say is nothing here when it comes to saddle hunting, whether you're climbing with sticks or one sticking, nothing I'm going to tell you is my creation, okay? And you can go out on YouTube and social media and gather all this information, and there's some probably have done better videos. But one of the things that I've tried to do when I started creating saddle hunting how-to videos is break it down a little more fundamental for people to take some of the intimidation factor out. Okay, but like when I first started saddle hunting, Nate Sellers, Average Jack Archery, was a big inspiration to me. He's a good friend of mine. He called me up, we talked on the phone, and he really got me going. Since then, I've met a lot of great people in the saddle hunting community and the mobile hunting community. That list of names is very long. But one guy that I met last summer, I'd known about, he actually knew about me through YouTube, was Greg Staggs and Staggs Outdoors. So check his channel out. Greg has put out probably the best videos when it comes to one sticking, when it comes to what gear works, what doesn't, the how-tos and everything. Check his channel out, okay? So all credit goes to those guys in particular, but everybody else who's out there that's creating incredible saddle hunting content and how-tos. Oh, here's what I'm going to tell you. There's no one way's better than the other way type of thing. I was in a discussion on a social media forum, and one person was like, well, I think sticks is the way to go. And one person was, well, I think one sticking is the way to go. And one person's like, well, I use my sticks, but then I use rappelling with one sticking, and I think that's the way to go. None of them are necessarily the way to go. You know, I'm fortunate, I've got access to different equipment, and I know a lot of people. And so for me, I'm just gonna get it all. And I think the more tools you have in your toolbox, you know, the better a hunter you are. I mean, that includes box blinds, that includes ladder stands, hang-on stands, ground blind hunting, saddle hunting with sticks, saddle hunting with a one stick, or saddle hunting with sticks, but using one stick methods and doing some rappelling down. So I think that there's all kinds of cases. So let's take a look at the gear that I have before we show a few differences in the tree. Again, the gear I have is what I have because I like it for me. This is not budget friendly gear, period. There are ways to do this. It's much more budget friendly. And there's people out there on YouTube that can make those suggestions, how you can do it yourself and all that. I don't go down that road. I very rarely DIY things. I mean, maybe little tweaks and stuff, but I very rarely do. I go all in when I go all in. So, but these principles apply to no matter what brand of equipment you're going to use. So if you're stick climbing, you know, obviously the saddle doesn't change, okay? This is a 2-panel saddle from Latitude, their Method 2. It doesn't change. You still need a linesman belt. You still need a dump pouch. In my case, I keep, you know, my gear hanger and stuff up there, okay? I still am going with my bow rope, although I'll talk about, you know, some of the things that others do for pulling up their bow. I still like my Doyles. Will always love it. For right now, it's staying on my saddle no matter what I do. So you got to have your sticks and your platform. So, you know, in my case, I've done videos on this. I've got 4 of the Eastern Woods Outdoors sticks. I love them. Sometimes I only run 3 because 3 of them I put 8ers on. The 4th one I don't. And if I want to go really high and I know where I'm going to be and I want to get higher, I'll bring that 4th one. Okay, so mine's 4-stick set right here. And you got to have a platform. In my case, this is the Latitude X-Wing. I've done some videos on this. I love this platform. It's great. Okay, so you're going to have all that stuff. And What you're not going to have one sticking that you will have to have if you are climbing with sticks and doing the traditional saddle hunting approach is some sort of tether. And we can talk about a hybrid method not to use this tether, but you're going to need this. Okay, so you got that gear right there. That's your basics that you're going to need when it comes to climbing with sticks and using a platform, and you're going to need your tether. When it comes to one sticking, that package is significantly reduced when it comes to climbing and hunting. And that's your package right here. Okay, this happens to be from Eastern Woods Outdoors. Again, I have no affiliation with them, but I'm a big fan of their products. This is called their Ultimate One Stick. It's got the UP platform with the slant on it, and it's also got their LP platform down low. This has a two-step altimeter setup on it with the altimeter pack and play setup. Basically, you've got a rope, but I'm going to unroll this here so you can see the, there you go. So basically, you got your aider and it all rolls up. And so it's a very nice, convenient little package when it's all rolled up, okay? Beyond that, you're going to need a rappel rope and rappel device, and you're also going to need a retrieval line, okay? Now, this is a pack that's made by Altimeter, and what I like about this pack is that I can strap it right to my camera bag. Now, I film my hunt, so I carry 25 pounds of camera gear with me in a backpack. This has always been a pain when I'm climbing on sticks because it's on my back. It's just more weight, more off balance. When I go to one sticking, I'm going to talk about how I get that. I don't carry this pack up on my back. I pull it up. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I found this. Altimeter makes this pack right here. And the beauty of this is it's got MOLLE attachments. You could attach it to your saddle. It also comes with a strap that can be used as a shoulder strap, or you could use it as a waist belt. So there's tons of options how to carry this. For me, because my camera bag's got all these MOLLE straps on it, I'm like, let's just mount it to this. This is brilliant, okay? So now I don't have to deal with carrying all my rope in something like a dump pouch or whatever, but you're gonna need rope. Okay, so in this pack right here, I love this little pack. I have 40 feet of Canyon Elite rope. Now, I bought all of this stuff from Eastern Woods Outdoors. They sell it as a kit. You can go out and you can piecemeal everything together. There's nothing wrong with that. I tend to be a go one place and just buy it and be done with it person. So I bought the 40-foot kit that comes with the Canyon Elite. I went with this over, I believe it's called CIV or CVI rope by Canyon. It's a stiffer rope. I wanted the more pliable rope. There's tons of videos on how to wind this up so it doesn't tangle up. You're going to basically take your arm. Craig Staggs has got the best videos on the. Take your arm, you're going to grab it, you're going to figure eight it up and down around your elbow in this, and next thing you know, you can fold it in half and you got something that won't tangle up. The only piece that I did not get from Eastern Woods is the ohm locker, and I'll show you this in a little bit, and how you lock your tether when you get up there so it doesn't slide down on you. Okay, I got their Kong climbing rated quick link, okay, right there. I actually took a little, I've got this food grade silicone spray I use in my grinder and stuff, and I sprayed it on the threads on here, and man, it just, now it screws and unscrews silently and nice and smooth and all that. So you're gonna need your rope. And in my case, I went with the Mad Rock belay device, okay? I went with the Mad Rock. Basically, this lets me, I can ascend with this, and it holds me in position. I can adjust my position up there just as I would with, say, a Kong duck or a Prusik or whatever on my tether when I'm saddle hunting on a platform. But this also becomes my rappel device. So you get to play Batman at the end of it. I bought this again from Eastern Woods Outdoors. They sell all this as a kit. That's a beautiful part of it, okay? And with a carabiner, okay? And the carabiner came with it. You got, make sure you get a climbing rated carabiner. Don't buy some junk thing. This is what Eastern Woods sells with the kit. It's climbing rated. This one here, I believe, this is also a Kong as well, okay? One note back on the climbing rope that Eastern Woods did for like $5 or $8, I don't remember, not much, is I had them put a loop of Dynaglide on the end of this rope, and that's how I'm going to get my backpack up and down On my backpack, I've got a Hero clip. These are amazing clips that I use to hang my backpack when I'm up in the tree. Been using it for years, and I can just clip this onto here. This is on the ground, and I can pull it up, okay? And then you're going to need your rope retrieval, which is another 40 foot of Dynaglide, okay? And it comes with a couple little carabiners, and they actually make the loops. There's no ties. I can't stand big knots. So everything's looped in. Easternwood does all this, and it's in that package. I did the same thing, if you'll notice, on my 40-foot climbing rope. Some people have the knot thing because they build them themselves, and that's awesome. Do that if you want to save some money or whatever. I just went with the eye already sewn in, the Easternwoods does. I don't have an obnoxious knot. I like that so much better. Okay, so those are the pieces of equipment. Now, believe it or not, it's much easier to carry because all this stuff is in here, and all I've got is my one stick to carry that's all wound up, as I showed you a little while ago, versus strapping this platform, which is an amazing platform, to my pack, and then carrying all these sticks in. So if I take this pack off with all this equipment and that one stick, and I weigh it all, and I weigh that compared to this platform, which is a light platform. This is one of the lighter platforms out there. My 4 sticks and my tether, Kong duck, and carabiner, believe it or not, there's over 4.5 pounds weight savings going to the one stick setup versus the sticks and the platform setup. So that's the gear. For me, it's just so nice and handy. I've hunted now multiple times out of the one stick setup, and I'm really impressed. I spent a couple days back here in my woods playing with this stuff because I did not want to get in a situation where, you know, I felt uncomfortable, you know, out hunting. But I played with it, and man, it just is so slick and so safe, and you're tethered off the whole time, and, you know, coming down, being able to rappel down. That's one of the things that I've never liked about climbing sticks and using a linesman belt only is coming down. And I've never had an incident, never been scared. I had one time in the dark and the wind was blowing and things just kind of felt wonky in my head probably, but you know, and you can come down with your tether too. You definitely can climb with your tether and linesman belt and come down with it using sticks. Probably much safer, okay, than the way the bulk of us do it. There's no arguing that. But it's just so much easier being able to rappel down. So let's take a look at these options on a tree. I'm only going to go up a stick or two so you can just kind of see the differences and we can talk about the merits of each, okay? All right, so let's start out with our just standard saddle hunting with sticks and platform. Like many of us still do, love doing it. It's where we all basically start out. Okay, you're carrying sticks. I only have 2 with me right now. Typically I'm running my 8ers, but I just don't want to run out of headroom, and I'm going to keep this fairly low to the ground. But you know, when you're climbing, you typically have got a stick hanging off, say, one hip, maybe one off the other hip. I actually can carry a third one hanging up off of my backpack. I got a clip on that. And you can see my platform's hanging off here. Now, there's other ways to do this. This is just kind of the way I do it. And it works very well. I actually like it, you know, and you're going to come, now granted, I'm not going as high, so I'm not using my 8er setup that I normally do down low. You know, and there's nothing that's slow about it. Once you get a system down, you know, it's not a race ever when it comes to saddle hunting. You know, I see guys go, well, you know, it takes too long, and you know, a lot of times we're comparing that to a tree stand and sticks that we've already got set up somewhere in the woods. Well, yeah, I mean, you went out in September or August and did that. Yeah, of course, this takes longer than climbing up into a preset. No duh. But the beauty, I've said this over and over again, my stuff's not setting out for squirrels and weather to tear up. Okay, you know, so you're going to basically, you know, you're going to climb that tree. Again, I usually hook up my lineman belt when I get up onto that first step. you know, I'm not very high off the ground. So, you know, it's very simple. You know, obviously you got this hanging here. You know, you can take your gear off and you can just work your way up the tree. And I've had people say, well, Derek, you're not being safe because you're climbing with just a linesman belt and you can fall. And yes, you can. And if you want to truly be safe doing this, then I would highly recommend that you get your tether out and you set up your tether and use a combination between your tether and your linesman belt as you climb. And I had one person make a comment to me, well, that's not, none of this is safe. I'll just sit, I'd rather sit on the couch. Well, you know what, go ahead and sit on the couch. Because, yeah, you know, when I do my presets, I have safety lines, static lines and all that. But the first time I hang that preset, I basically have to do it this same way, okay? So yes, you can get your tether out and you can climb and be ultra safe, you know, in doing so. You know, and then you can just climb on up and then you're going to obviously attach, you know, your platform, okay? You know, in this case here, let's say I was at hunting height, I would typically take my platform off my back like this. For me, what I typically do is I will set that right there, get everything untwisted, kind of shorten this up. I've kind of started to know about how long things have got to be. And I still like the straps when it comes to my platforms. Okay. And I get it kind of close and I come over here around the side like this, get things where I kind of want it. And I cinch that down. And I usually just kind of leave it right there until I go up, you know, and set this. And again, I've got a ton of how-to videos, you know, on how to do things. I typically let some out and, you know, from there, I'm going to climb up and I'm going to take my linesman belt around that. Now, again, if you don't feel this is safe enough for you, get your tether out and have your tether up before you make a move like this. Climbing safety is up to you. It's not up to me or anybody else on the internet to tell you how to be safe, okay, when you're climbing. All right? So then you're up here and now you can set that platform and cam it over. Sometimes you gotta do a couple times, get everything square where you want. Now, the one thing I'll tell you is never step out onto that platform until you are tethered off. Okay, you can sit here and mess with it all you want. Don't step on it until you're tethered off. So I'm gonna reposition the camera so then we can kind of talk about, you know, the merits of this, okay? All right, so again, you're not stepping on that. You should not step on that until you tether off, okay? Now, I've done videos on this. I recommend you girth hitch your tether, which basically just means you make a loop, come up, you go through the bigger loop, put your tag in through, and get that thing tied off to roughly where you want it. Get a little high, come down a little bit. Okay, get your bridge out. And I know you're looking at my backside, so, but there's plenty of videos out here on it. Make sure you always close your gate, okay? Take the slack out. And now you got 2 points of contact. I got a 2-panel saddle, so I like to open it up. Just more comfortable for me. Okay, and at that point, make sure that's seated the way you want it. Cam that baby over. Okay, make sure you got minimal slack in your system. Get things how you want. Okay, then you can pull up your bow, do all that good stuff. Okay, and now you're in a hunting position, you know, elevated. You can daisy chain this off and hang it. You can stuff it in your dump pouch. You can do a ton of different things. I've got videos on how to do all this stuff. I always tie a stopper knot just for extra security in my tether. Okay, I run it down through my lines and loop. Again, I got videos all on this stuff. We're hunting. This is the classic saddle hunting setup. You got all the maneuverability, you know, you can come out, you can go around the tree, you know, you can go any direction you want. Now, a difference obviously is coming down. You're going to basically just reverse the process. Never unhook this, never step over to your sticks until you've got both your lines and belt and your tether hooked up. Okay, you want to make sure that that transfer, you are completely safe. Once you get where you want to be, at that point in time, if you want to go ahead and you want to descend by loosening your tether up, okay, and working your tether down the tree with you as you go, you can do that. Probably the safest method there is. You can do that. Most of us don't do that, and most of us at that point in time are going to unhook and just come down with our linesman belt, okay? Now, arguably, again, we are taking chances. You need to do your own risk assessment in how you climb or descend from a tree. I can't tell you the best way to do it or the proper way to do it. It's great, it's safe, it's easy. There's a gazillion videos on how to do it. So let's compare this to one sticking. I'm definitely going to do a deeper dive into my one stick setup in a different video. I'm going to gloss over a lot, but here's the comparison to what you saw in the others. Get to the tree, this can just sit here and go on the ground for right now, okay? My pack is here on the ground as well, okay? I have access to everything I need right here, okay? So first thing really to do is to get the one stick on the tree in my initial position that I want. I really like how compact this is. Again, there are other brands that do the same. You know, again, this is Eastern Woods out on Limbs, got a great package. I know there's some others, there's an Ion or something like that, okay? But basically I'm gonna come in here and I'm just gonna throw this thing up on the tree because I got a two-step aider. That's about the right height for me right there, okay? Put it up, set that down, okay? The beauty of it is, there's my aider right there, okay? Boom. So, things that I do, okay? I can leave this pull-up rope in the pack the whole time because this pack's gonna end up to me. But for right now, because I'm not gonna pull the pack up to do a full hunt, I'm gonna throw it in my pocket so we've got it. But I'm gonna need this. Without this, you're not getting your rope back down, okay? This is a key, okay? I'm gonna have my ascender ready to go, okay? I can throw that in a pocket or whatever, okay? And then I can get out my 40 foot of rope. Now, there are different ways to do this. Some guys don't do it this way, but because I have this camera bag, this is what I'm gonna do, okay? My 40 foot will not tangle up, okay? Now, here is why I had this loop sewn in, okay? Is again, I can hook this onto my hero clip on my camera bag, and now it's a pull-up rope. I got this idea because Greg Stags Outdoors, he does it for his bow. It's brilliant. If I didn't self-film, that's what I would do. Some guys use this Dynaglide setup as their pull-up rope as well for their bow. You can do that. Me, I still am leaning on the Doyle system as a crutch. I love it. And going and bouncing from, say, sticks to one sticking, I'm sticking with this for my bow for now, okay? But that's why I did this. Nothing here is going to tangle as I climb, okay? So, safety's first all the time, okay? I'm gonna get this out. I've shown this. This is no different than climbing with my sticks. And I'm not telling you how to climb. You're gonna climb at your own risk. Okay, boom. Got our end, we got our quick link and everything, all right? So I'm gonna throw this over my shoulder first because I'm gonna need that second, and this. Now before I climb here, I'm going to step back. I'm gonna reposition the camera so you can see this. I'm not gonna go super high, but we'll go up a couple lifts here and then we'll show you the rappelling down, okay? All right, so here we go. Okay, this is the only stick we're using to climb with. the one thing I've always sold everybody on when it comes to saddle hunting is the safety, and it's very safe. Yes, you can get hurt. This, in my opinion, one sticking is even safer. It takes it to a whole nother level, okay? So, same as climbing with any aiders, okay? You're gonna go up. When I get to this point here, that platform there is about 4 feet off the ground. Yes, I could fall and theoretically get hurt at 4 feet. But when I get to that point, I'm bringing around my linesman belt, okay? And I'm gonna clip my linesman belt off onto my linesman loop. And then I'm gonna step up onto the lower platform. I'm gonna raise it up and up onto my next platform and raise it up, okay? Everybody says this looks like so much work, and it's not. And to quote Greg Staggs, you're gonna burn almost no calories in the process. You're going to take your rope, and I like to go about as high as I am tall, okay? So roughly 6 feet up. And then I'm gonna run my quick link. And again, there is nothing quick about a quick link. But that's the only time you've got to undo it, unless you're going over branches. And I really think that this is a better method of going over branches than the video I recently did of using sticks and going over branches. So here we are. We're set up like this. I'm going to get out my bridge to where I want it set at. And I am going to get out my Ascender, my Mad Rock. Greg Stagg shows you the best way to attach these. It really is not difficult at all. Again, go to his video. There, you can overthink it. Don't overthink it. I come up with a system. The hinge always on my right, the handle away, the hole down, okay? And you're gonna throw your carabiner through and over. You go from the top in. Again, Greg Stagg's tip. That guy is, he knows it all and when it comes to this stuff, okay? And you're going to then hook in. And this is actually fast. When you're not making a video on how to do this stuff is fast and you can be so quiet. Make sure you close your gate, okay? Me, I wear a 2-panel. I love a 2-panel, and I really like a 2-panel for one sticking because it gives you that support underneath. And you're gonna say, wow, I want that support in just a minute. I'm gonna bring this about right here for right now. I'm gonna unclip this. And now you can see, just as if I was saddle hunting, boom. I can adjust this, I can do whatever I want, but we're not at hunting height. So how do we get to hunting height? Again, we'll go over in another video a lot of details on this, but just to show you how simple this is, I get down to about a seated position. Boom, everything's locked off. I like going into the tree like this. Some guys go to the side. I like going in like this. And I'm gonna roll over, and I'm gonna grab this rope, and I'm gonna grab this pull-up. Well, I got that thing seated in there good that time. Boom. Just like this. It took no effort to do any of that, okay? Boom. I like putting my feet against the tree, put that up in there. Again, I go back to this position right here, throw this around, boom. Throw this up and over. That's it. Now, how do we do this and stay safe? We don't want a lot of slack in the line, okay? There will be a little bit of slack in the line, but I'm gonna show you how I do this. Stay safe. That thing is seated. I'm gonna go up, grab the tree, one step to here, and stop. Linesman, around, clip onto my loop, and I'm going to step up onto that lower step. And I'm going to stop right there. I'm safe here. Undo my locker. Bring this up. And what I like to do is bring it right up just below my linesman, okay? If you want to, you can put your locker back on. Then I take my linesman and I bring it just below that rope. Again, always staying above level, okay? Now I can take this rope and I can take it right up the tree. Get it where I want. I'm gonna locker it again. Okay, I can step up onto the platform. Things tighten to where I want them. Undo the locker. Get it where I want. Put the locker on. We're good. Undo it. And I can make another move if that's what I want to do. Or I could be at hunting height. It's just repeat. It looks cumbersome, what I did there, because I'm doing an instruction video. It really isn't. Is it faster to climb this way than with the sticks? I don't know. I don't care. I would say if you're a person committed to sticks, you're always going to be faster with sticks. If you're a person committed to one sticking, you're probably going to be faster using one sticking. I really don't care. It's not a race for me to get up and down a tree, ever. I make sure I've got time. I'd rather go up, take my time, be smooth. I hunt with 25 pounds of camera gear. It takes me longer to get all my camera gear set up, my camera arm and all that stuff, get everything set up, multi-cams, than it ever does to climb a tree. So I'm really not worried about it. If this was my hunting height, as you can see, I can do everything that I could do off of a platform and sticks. Now, one of the things that I've always said that I like about a platform and sticks is I got sticks. I set my sticks so they're the same height as the platform. I can walk around the tree. You don't have that luxury here, but what you can do is take a ring of steps, maybe 2-3 steps on a ring of steps. Bullman sells them. Eastern Woods has theirs called squirrel steps. Throw that up. I have a couple Bullmans. I've played with it. I don't have that system quite down the way I want yet, but I'll get there, and then it's going to be no problem. We're completely safe. Completely safe. The beauty, too, of this is, once I get to my hunting height, I don't need my linesman belt again. So I'm up here. I daisy chain this sucker off, and I don't need it again because I'm not going to need it when I come down. Okay? So we are going to talk about coming down because that is the fun part about one sticking. But it's only fun if you remember to do one thing. You need your Dynaglide. If you rappel down right now, you're never getting this down out of the tree. And you're going to find a new way to climb up. So if there's a downside to one sticking, this might be it, is remembering to do this. But again, I have mine typically in that bag that's on the side of my camera bag, which again, I've left to this. I didn't even show you that. This is the beauty of this. Oh my gosh, is this awesome. Again, I'm usually higher, you'd be higher up in a tree, but check this out. I'm pulling my camera bag, 25 pounds of bag that was not on my back is now up here. And now I can, using my gear strap like I always do, I can hang that up here. I have access, if this is hanging on the side of the tree, I have access to this whole gear bag right here where typically my Dynaglide is stored, and I can take all this extra rope, wind it all up, stuff it in there, and it can be just hanging right there. So it's not hanging to the ground. It's a very efficient system. When I'm done hunting, I've got it connected. I'm just gonna lower it down to the ground. Is all I'm gonna do. Boom, swing it out away from the tree, get rid of it out of there. Again, this rope is only cumbersome right now because I'm not at hunting height, so I got extra rope. So here we are. Back to what I was talking about was the Dynaglide, and there's a way to wind this up. Again, Greg Staggs, go check out Greg Staggs' stuff. But there's others that show you how to do that as well. If you wind it properly, you drop it, it doesn't tangle. It's pretty magical, okay? So I personally like it on the left side. I just did it for effect over there. On your tether locker, there's a loop here. Clip it in to that loop, and you're good to go. and that's it. And from there, you get to play Batman. This is where the whole thing's really cool, is as you're coming down, and you get down to your one stick. Now, check this out. I'm here. Things are wet today, so a little slippery. I roll up all this stuff and I tuck everything away in this little roll pouch. Create a nice little package right there. Pull this off, and I'm all doing, there's like literally this is so comfortable and there's no energy being exhausted by me sitting here hanging off of this. So I put all my gear away. And put that back in the cam cleat. And I took some paracord and I made myself a little nifty hanger that I can then hang off of what I would normally attach my sticks to if I was stick climbing. And we at that point can now rappel the rest of the way down. And it's cool too, like if you get scared, just let go. You just let go, okay? If you get scared, you're going too fast, just let go. You're just gonna stop. This thing is not letting go, okay? I mean, it's pretty simple. It can be a little jerky until you get used to the feel of it, okay? But it's actually pretty simple. You get down to the ground, you open up your gate, you pull the Madrock off, and you can use figure eights. There's other rappel devices. I like the Madrock. You can use figure eights though. If you don't want to spend the money on a Madrock or whatever, you can do that, okay? So, ditch your gear. You got your Dynaglide that's connected. You're gonna come back a little bit. And when I pull this, it's all gonna come down. And one of the beauties, if it was over limbs, I hunted the other day over top of a limb, and you pull it down and all your rope goes up and over the limb. So I pull that and I pull on it and the whole thing comes right down to earth and back to you. And you got 40 foot of rope here, so you can do that clear up to 30 feet up in the air if you want to. It really is pretty simple. Takes a couple minutes to wind up your ropes and everything, but it's a very slick and simple process. So now let's take a look at a hybrid approach where we entail the rope and the rappelling, but with sticks and a platform. All right, so now I got my sticks and platform back on the tree, but we're gonna take a hybrid approach. I've climbed like I normally would, but I'm gonna use my rappel gear from my one sticking and see how that works and show you the benefits of doing it that way. So rather than taking out our 8-foot tether like we normally would, we got our 40-foot rappel rope, and just as we did when we were one sticking, we're wrapping around. We're going. All right, so now we're going to take a look at what I call a hybrid approach. Okay, I've got my sticks and platform back on the tree, just as how we did it earlier, and I've climbed this exact same way. Instead of using my 8-foot tether that I normally would, I have my 40-foot rappel rope from my one sticking. Okay, so I've got my quick link on here. I'm going to open my quick link up. And you can use this quick link, the same quick link setup with a regular tether if you prefer. And I would recommend using a locker at that point, but you can definitely use it. Okay, so we're going to toss it around the tree. Get it up here at a height that we feel comfortable with. Just as we did one sticking, we're going to drop it through the quick link. We're going to close the quick link, which calling it a quick link is kind of an oxymoron because they're not as quick as you'd think. And there are reasons to using a quick link versus using, say, a carabiner, okay? And there's been a lot of videos done on that by other people. And we'll put our little tether locker on there. I like to turn it so that the feet are in, okay? And at that point, we can get out our belay device. In my case is a Madrox Safeguard. There's tons of instructions on how to properly hook these up. It is not confusing unless you want to make it confusing for yourself. It actually is pretty simple and very slick. And I'm not being quiet at all because I'm not in a hunting situation, but you can definitely be quiet. Make sure you always close your screw gate. And there you go. Now you have got your belay device set up. Again, you hunt out of a 2-panel, so I like to have my second panel down. This is more comfortable for me. And at that point, you can then step over onto your platform and you've got your lines and belt. And you really have never had any significant slack in your system at all. At this point, the beauty of using this setup is this linesman belt, just as when we were saddle hunting, you don't need it anymore, okay? So you can daisy chain it, you can stuff it in your dump pouch, whatever. I normally just daisy chain mine, but I'm just, for convenience purposes right now, stuffing it in my dump pouch. So now we can hunt safely just as we were with our original tether. My tether locker's got this thing, so it's not gonna move. You know, I can do all the same moves that I did with my tether earlier. Nothing's happening. You can either leave this rope hanging, or in my case, I would have my camera bag up here and I can wind it all up and put it right back in that pouch that I carried it in on. So basically that's it. I mean, it is so simple. Now, the beauty of this setup is when it's time to come down, okay, now all of a sudden we can basically play Batman, okay? For camera purposes, I'm gonna stay off to the side here. If it was me hunting, I would come back around to these sticks. I would simply turn this because I wanna come down my sticks, okay? But for video purposes right now, I'm gonna just keep it off to the side. Put my tether locker back on. Okay, so just as in one sticking, it's time to come down. Now the missing part that I don't have here, because I didn't want to bring it up and I'm not very high, is I would have my orange Dynaglide clipped onto this so I can pull it down just as I showed you when I was one sticking. But I'm gonna come back up here in just a little bit anyway, so I didn't put it on here. Okay, so basically that's the principle of this. So here we go. The beauty of this is, again, is now I can play Batman and I can come down, okay? And I'm just going to rappel down the tree, and when I get to my platform, I can sit here and I can pack everything up, undo this whole thing, do that with every stick my entire way down the tree. I'm not going to do it right now because I want to leave these up for another video, but go all the way down the tree until I get to the ground and be done. All right, so what's the best approach? Do you hunt with sticks and a platform, or do you hunt with a one stick, or do you take the hybrid approach? Well, it's really up to you and whatever you're comfortable with. Again, I'll go back to what I said earlier in this video. I think all of these things are tools in your toolbox for hunting. And I don't think that you should limit yourself to one tool and say that this is the tool or this is the tool. Obviously, if your budgets are limited, you got to kind of, you know, figure out what it is, you know, that you're going to marry yourself to. You know, and I can't be the one that tells you which that is. You know, I started out and I've done a ton of hunting out of this setup right here. This year, I've probably put in 50 sits at least in this setup right here. I want to put in a few in this, okay? I think long-term, I'm going to like the one-sticking approach. Probably prefer it over to multi-sticking. But, you know, time may prove otherwise for that. I personally think if you're on straight trees like the one we've been playing with today, I don't see how you can say that one sticking isn't a better option. You know, I mean, this is a great option, but I can literally go as high as I want in this tree. In this tree here, I was up almost 30 feet the other day when I was out playing around in this exact tree. Here, with these 4 sticks in the platform, with my 8ers, as I've got this set up, I can get the platform somewhere around 20 foot or so, okay? That's it. I can stretch it out. If you go more 8ers, yes, you can go higher and all that stuff, but there's a limit to it. Now, here's what I will say is, you get in a crooked tree, one that's got a lot of twists and everything, I'm not gonna wanna one stick that. I think in that situation, your sticks and your platform is the better solution, okay? Because you can change and go with the contours of the tree, okay? You're also going to rely a little more on a linesman belt setup than you when you go up that, and that follows the contours better than a one stick. With one stick, gravity wins, and so it's always going to want to come straight down, okay? In a crooked tree, that may not be the best solution for you, all right? I also think that generally if the tree's fairly straight and it's got a lot of limbs, I think the one stick is probably a better method because you're already relying on a combination of a tether with a quick link and a linesman belt. You can still do that obviously with sticks and a tether. In fact, you could put a quick link on a tether, and I may end up doing that. But I think with a lot of limbs, if it's a fairly straight tree, my preference would probably be the one stick. So again, it all goes back to, you know, what are you comfortable with? I kind of like that hybrid approach if you're going with the sticks. And I may start hunting that way with the sticks more often, is taking that hybrid approach. I do like being able to rappel down. Obviously there's the fun factor, but there's the safety factor, especially in the dark, of, you know, that linesman belt, like, oh, I got to move it down. And there's that whole moving it down. And then when it's cold or it gets wet out, you know, there's the chance of slipping. And so there's a lot to be said for taking that hybrid approach. So I would encourage you to explore the options out there. Again, you don't have to buy the equipment that I have. I mean, you can DIY it. You can build your own one stick. You can build your own sticks. You can go with lesser expensive gear or whatever. Just figure out a system that's for you. And I've said this from day one in my videos, get a system and follow the system. No matter if it's sticks, climb with sticks or one stick. Process A, B, C, D, and then coming down, D, C, B, A. You have got to come up with a system and follow it. So that's it. I know this was a long video, but I don't think I've seen anybody do something like this where they talk about the virtues. It's always somebody slamming one or the other. This is better than this, or this is better than this, or you're right, or I'm right and you're wrong. It's, oh my God, it drives me crazy. Just get out there and do it. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below. I know I didn't talk about everything. I'm going to do an in-depth dive into my whole one sticking setup in the very near future. Check out all my other videos on saddle hunting with sticks, and a lot of the principles apply whether you're one sticking or using a stick. So, oh man, wow. With that, I hope your deer seasons have been awesome. Mine have been pretty darn good. Could have been better, could have been worse, but pretty darn good. Stay safe. Saddle hunting, I just think it's as safe as you can get in the woods. As always, God bless, and it's a new day in the outdoors. Oh yeah, and check out Stags on the Outdoors. Man, he is the one sticking king.